I wish you guys could try this. It's so good. To all my matcha people, we must stick together. Welcome back, friends. Happy Saturday. Today's video, I want to talk about jealousy and envy. I don't know why I keep saying that. Can I speak? Jealousy and envy. The Greek word for jealousy and envy is the same word. So that word is, I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to try it, but don't judge me. Kina. So jealousy and envy, they're not words used to describe love. Paul in 1 Corinthians tells you what love is. In verse 14 in chapter 13, it says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. So both envy and jealousy are listed in the Bible as sins to avoid, along with sins such as greed, slander, and anger. A lot of the times in the Bible, you'll see in different translations of a verse, it'll say jealous. And then in another translation of the same verse, it'll say envy. And that's because those words are interchangeable. Just like how I said, the Greek word is, yes, so it's the same word. For example, you have Job chapter 5, verse 2. The New King James Version says, for wrath kills a foolish man, and envy slays a simple one. In the Christian Standard Version Bible, it says, for anger kills a fool, and jealousy slays the gullible. In Proverbs 14, verse 30, it says, NIV, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. NLT version, the New Living Translation, and it reads, a peaceful heart leads to a healthy body. Jealousy is like cancer in the bones. That's crazy. Cancer in the bones, killing all the good cells. Cancer attacks the good cells. It attacks your body. It can kill you. Another example of jealousy and envy is NIV version, anger is cruel and fury overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy? New King James versions, it says, wrath is cruel and anger a torment, but who is able to stand before jealousy? So that's what I mean by the words are interchangeable. Sometimes you'll read in the dictionary that they're a little bit different. Like in the world, the words are different, but it's like in God's eyes, it's like they're the same thing. The words are interchangeable. So the Greek word is what I had said, but is it Greek actually? I messed up big time. So in Hebrew, the word for jealousy and envy is the same, but in Greek, they're different. I'm sorry, guys. The Merriam-Webster dictionary will describe the word envy as painful, resentful awareness of an advantage enjoyed by another, joined with a desire to possess the same advantage. And jealousy is defined as intolerant of rivalry and unfaithfulness. Regardless, God's standards of jealousy and envy are in the same boat. So envy is the sin of jealousy over the blessings and achievement of others, especially the spiritual enjoyment in advance of the kingdom of Christ, which is freely and graciously bestowed upon people of God, the people of God. Mic drop. Jealousy and envy inevitably can lead to personal harm and debilitation, affecting one's physical, spiritual, and emotional well-being. It eats you up. Unchecked, it gradually leads to a destructive and remorseful way of life, and it ultimately leads to an estrangement from God. In Romans chapter 1, verse 28, basically in that section, you're dealing with people who gave their mind over to evil, to envy, to deceit, to anything and everything but the knowledge of God. There was wickedness, there was greed, there was depravity. full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. That separates you from God. It's hard for God to do what he wants to do in you when you have that, because that stuff, it takes over you. The 10th commandment, it speaks about jealousy and envy in Exodus 20 verse 17, and it reads, "You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor." The common average person does not have an ox or a donkey laying around. But in that time, it was something that was common. But basically, it's saying like what one person has, what your neighbor has, the neighbor that you're called to love, you love them through that. You cannot love with envy and jealousy. Covetousness. Covetousness is the word that they're using, but that translate to a strong desire to have which belongs to another. Something that your neighbor has is for your neighbor. You can pray about it and you can seek to get your own, but what's your heart posture? How do you react when somebody gets something that you want? When your friend or a family member close to you gets something that you want or you feel like you should have? God checks your heart in those moments. And honestly, this has happened to me many times, you know, um, in many different ways, in many situations. I had to check my heart posture. Create me in a clean heart and renew a steadfast spirit within me. That's the prayer that you pray over that. My amazing godmother, spiritual mother, second mother, all of the above, she told me when somebody gets something that you want, to say, "I'm next." Because what God has for you is for you. And what God has for your neighbor, for your cousin, for your best friend is for them. You know? Like it's for them. But what's for you is for you. And God knows the desires of your heart. So if it aligns with his will, he will give them to you. We have to wait our turn. In contrast to jealousy or envy, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6, it reads, "But godliness with contentment is great gain." Learning to be content in every season. Being content does not mean that this is going to be where you continue to stay for the rest of your life. You know, like I'm working at being content in the season that I'm at where God has me, because a lot of the times we want to rush through the process. And I'm talking to myself right now. If I'm talking to nobody, I'm talking to me. We want to rush through that process, but there's God. We seek God through that process. There's beauty in the process. It takes time. What if we want something so bad that we want it more than God? What if we want something so bad that we couldn't handle right now? God has to take us through things. We need to kill comparison as well, but wait your turn. And sometimes we don't even know what that person went through to receive the blessing that they have. That thing that we want. Sometimes God has to take you through things to get you to where he needs you to be. Because if we're not where he needs us to be, when we get that blessing, we can't handle it. When we get that blessing, we fold. When we get that blessing, we don't appreciate it if he just hands it to us. He's not a genie in a bottle. That's so good. I'm talking to myself. Seeing somebody else win does not mean that you are losing. Bless them. Celebrate with them. Praise God for what he's done in their life, because guess what? The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. So what that means is what he's done for another, he can do it for you. What he's done for me, he can do it for you. Don't make me get up and shout. Like, hey, come on. Come on. Lastly, I just want to say that in James chapter 3, 13 through 16, I want to read it real quick. It says, "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in humility that come from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Such wisdom," I'm doing three fingers, but I mean to do two, "it does not come from heaven, but it is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder in every evil practice. Selfish ambition is demonic. It brings disorder, it brings jealousy, it brings bad things. I can relate to people who want something so bad and they've seen people around them get it. And I don't feel jealous, I don't feel envious. I know that God is going to bless me with those things in His timing. But that's the thing, it's going to be in His timing. There's beauty in the waiting. And it's hard for us to see that because we so often want a microwavable quick meal. A little, I mean, I don't eat TV dinners, but it's not the point. We want a quick little microwavable 1 minute and 30-second meal. When your grandmother or when your mother puts her foot in her food, when she throws love in her food, when she lets her food marinate, and when they season it well, that's the kind of meal I want. I want the kind of well seasoned meal. If God had just given you that thing that you desire so badly, would you have idolized it? Would you love that thing and put that thing over God? Do you love that thing and put that thing over God? Or do we wait? Do we just trust in Him and know that He has wonderful plans for us? Do we trust that He will give us the desires of His heart like He says He will in this beautiful, beautiful book of life? Wait on the Lord. They that wait shall renew their strength like eagles and soar up on wings. They shall walk and they shall not faint. They shall run and not get weary, grow weary. Wait. It's hard, it's tough, but wait. God's gonna do it. Ugh, let me stop. I'm so weird. But anyways, every time I touch the table, it just shakes. So I had to like. Anyways, XOXO.